All right, here we go. Good morning. This is Paul Romero with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Training number 65. I don't even know where we are. Maybe it's 65. I'm not sure. Might be 66. Anyway, I do first of all, this is the last day of the year, last day of 2014. And I do apologize yesterday if you came here to follow up with the with the whole review program and preparation for 2015 that we've been running through for the past 2 weeks here. I don't know where my brain was yesterday. I just had in my mind that I was not doing hangouts on Tuesday, and I didn't do any hangouts on Tuesday, and I wasn't here. So I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry. So anyway, what I want to run through, I just want to get to where we were talking about. You did your charts, you did your graphs. Like I said, maybe you can pull them right out of your QuickBooks if you have that. You can chart and graph your income, which shows you exactly when you were doing good and when you were not doing so good. And you can look at those weeks and or months and make the determination of when things were good and when things were bad. And then we had you going out and making this list of tasks that we're focusing on. What are these good and bad tasks that and how to determine what's a problem for you and what's a bonus for you, what's a benefit for you. And the purpose of doing these two things is we're going to compare what was going on. You're going to go back and look at your financial charts, your money earning charts, and you're going to look at all the times when things were going good, and you're going to come back to your tasks list, and you're going to compare, okay, what was I doing during those times that we were doing good? And you want to start categorizing the things that were doing good, and you're probably going to start seeing some common threads. Wow, every time we were doing good, seems like I was focusing more in these three areas than I was in these three areas. You're going to see trends and things that go along that direction. That's the purpose of this. And then you're going to do the same thing for the times when it was going bad. When all of this was going bad, when we weren't making that much money, what was I doing? Because the whole thing is, as I tried to say in the beginning, your success is all about you. It has nothing to do with any other outside circumstances. I mean, yes, there are certain things. If you're employed, there's limitations. You're only going to be able to make so much money ever. That's just the way it is. That's life. That's what a job is all about. Why JOB means just over broke, because trust me, the forces that be have already figured this out, exactly how much money you can make to feel like you're living good when you really have nothing. Okay, that's what a job does for you. But a job has a purpose in life. You just never been taught what that purpose is, and that's a whole nother story. So anyway, getting back to where we are here. So you'll be able to look at what you were doing in the bad times as well as the good times, and figure out where your time was being spent. What tasks were you doing during those times? And like I said, you're going to notice the common threads. Wow, whenever we weren't making any money, seems like I was spending more time in these areas than I was in these areas. That when we were making good money, I was actually spending time in those areas and not in these areas. And you're going to be able to cross-reference all that stuff and see what this is all about, right? And then also too, the real focus of what we're doing with this charting of all your tasks and doing these ratings of these different things in regards to each task is also to really point out to you where your strengths are within the company or within your job, where within your earning power, where your strengths are already and where your weaknesses are, and going to give you the idea, point you in the right direction of what you need to basically, first of all, I'm not even going to say try to work on or change certain things that are so bad. What you need to work on with those is just getting them off your plate, okay? Those need to be delegated to someone else. Those tasks need to be being performed by someone else. You need to get your time back out of those tasks that you're wasting your time in. Is basically what it comes down to. And so that you can reapply your time into an area of focus that either needs your help or is already doing well, but if you put more time in there, could be doing even better. So that's the purpose of this. So let's review where we left off. All right. We left off with your list of tasks, and this is a list of everything that you spent no less than 5 minutes doing in 2014. If you did it for 5 minutes, it's on the list. All right. And the time that you actually spent in 2014 actually performing this task, 5 minutes, 3 hours, all on down the line. So these are going to be listed in order from the lowest to the highest with the amount of time that you spent performing each task. So quite frankly, your list should start out with a lot of low numbers and they should work to high numbers. That's what you should see, but it's probably not what you're going to see. Okay, now we got you to rating these tasks. We're going to rate each one of these tasks. First of all, rate on a 0, and all these are on a scale of 0 to 10. All right, 0 being horrible, 10 being great. In this case, fun or enjoyment. How much do you actually enjoy or have fun performing this task? 0 being I can't stand putting 1 second into this task. A 10 being if I did this every day for the rest of my life, I'd be a happy person. Okay. So you're going to rate each task, how much fun, how much you enjoy doing it. Then you're going to rate each task with your ability. How good are you at doing this task? 0 being I totally suck. 10 being I am the greatest. All right. Then we asked you to total these two columns up and make the me score. And we showed you that out of a potential 20, you can see you've got some in the teens and you've got some in the below the teens. And this just tells you right there, just between, what you're good at and what you like to do, this is going to give you an idea right there of, okay, anything that is, below a 10, single digits, there's, a problem here. These areas, need attention. The rest of the stuff is, doing pretty well. So then we ask you to rate the importance. Is that what that is? Let me make sure. Yes. Then we ask you to rate the importance of each one of these tasks. Okay. So once you've gone through and you said, okay, well, this task is, fairly important, but I'll give it a 6. This task, yeah, this is really important. This is a 9. This task right here, that's not that important. That's a 3. This task right here, this task right here, ultimately important. That's a 10. Okay. So then we told you to add up your me score with your task or with your importance score, and you come up with an overall task score. And now this is a total out of 30 points. And you'll see here that we now have sums in the, tasks in the 20s, tasks in the teens, and tasks in the single digits. Anything in the 20s, not a problem. These things are solid, not a lot to worry about. They're high priority. They have a high importance, and you're either good at them or enjoy doing them, or are decent enough, et cetera, and so on, that these are not they're not high on your worry list. Okay, everything in the teens, these are definitely areas that need attention. Anything in the teens, there's something going on here. There's definitely room for a lot of improvement in these areas. All right. Anything that's in the single digits at this point in time, this is red flag. The boat is sinking. We have to get this off your plate ASAP. First thing, number one, and that's what you want to do. Anything in this that you come up with now that's in the single digits, you got to get it out of your life. You got to have somebody else performing that task. All right. Then we asked you to move along here and go to the the heck? Did I really do that? Oh, I did. Okay. Then we asked you to go along. I kind of skipped this here in my thinking this morning. But anyway, then we asked you to go along and look at these tasks that you rated their importance. And now we want you to look at them in a different way and rate them to their importance of you actually earning $1. Okay. In other words, how important is it when I am spending my time performing this task? Okay, when I'm actually spending my time performing this task, how many dollars is this earning for me? How important is it for me to be doing this task that I'm earning money doing this task? So you're going to see that that's going to change. That's going to change some of these numbers here. I mean, like we can see right here, we look, this one went from a 6 to a 1. This one went from a 9. This one actually went up. Wow. I thought that was a pretty important task, but in actuality, when I am actually doing this task, that has a lot to do with me generating money. Whereas you see this one down here, you had as a 10, and all of a sudden you go, well, actually, you know what? I thought that was a very, very important task, but in actuality, when I am spending my time doing this task, you know, it's probably not of the utmost importance. There's probably a couple other things that I could maybe, like this one right up here, that maybe I should maybe be doing a little bit more in. And you see these two right here, they kind of stayed pretty much the same as far as their importance with earning money. They're just not that important. They might even drop. Maybe this, maybe you look at this 3 right here or this 2 right here, and you go, you know what? In actuality, I thought that was kind of a 2 or a 3 of importance, but really, it doesn't do anything for making money, and that should be a 0 or a 1. So that's the kind of things that you're going to change these numbers to all of a sudden. So this gives you the opportunity now. You can do some different things with this. If you wanted to, you could recalculate your task score by taking these two numbers here and adding this number instead of this number. And you can see right away, this 25 would become a 23. Not too much of an effect right there. This 17, obviously, well, if that changed to a 0, it would go from a 17 to a 14. Still not a huge change. Going to re-rank it a little bit, but it still remains in the area of needing some attention. This number right here didn't change. This number right here going up 1, again, didn't make a drastic difference, but, maybe ranked it a little higher, something that you just notice that maybe, hey, this one's actually a little bit better than that one. And then this one right here, you might see, all of a sudden you have something that went from a 14 score, which was 8 and 6, to all of a sudden now it's an 8, because you still like doing it. It's an 8 and a 1, which makes it only a 9. So now this went from, hey, this is an area of concern that needs to be looked at, to all of a sudden now it's a red flag sinking ship. This is definitely a high area of concern that needs more immediate attention than I might have thought before. So you see, that can give you that sort of a impression on that. Now I've changed this graph up. I've gone to the next step here. Oh, and then I'm sorry. Then the next thing we asked you to do, after looking at that way, then we asked you to go back to column 5 here, and we want you to reevaluate your actual ability here. Okay, this we want you to look now at this particular task. If you were to go out and bring in a professional, pay a professional to come in and do this task. All right. Now what we want you to do is we want you to compare your ability to what a professional, the best, the top in their field, the #1 guy who could come in here and do this task. How do you stack up against that person? So versus a professional, versus the #1 top guy in the field who could come in here and perform this task. Now, how do you compare to that person? And you might go down this list. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the next chart here, and you'll see I changed a few things. I got rid of a couple rows down here, and I wanted to do this because I wanted you to get the numbers of these rows up here, because I think I screwed this up too. The earning importance. Okay, I didn't screw it up. I just didn't put these numbers in. All right. Yeah, I didn't put these numbers in. 1, 10, 2, 3, 8. All right, we're good. All right, so I've got everything we have so far all the way. Here's the earning importance. It was your task score. The 2 in red, yellow, I've still kept highlighted, your me score and your task score. Like I said, you can play with these adjustments here between the, your perception of the importance and the actual earning importance, and there's something there that I want to bring to light. And then we ask you to do the comparison here of your ability to your ability versus a professional. And you'll see here again, maybe we have some differences here where like here you had something, hey, I was a 6 at this, but actually, you know what? I brought a professional in here to do this. And, looking at how well I've seen some of my other people do this, in reality, comparing myself to that professional, I'm actually more like a 7 than a 6. You might see this, hey, I thought I was a 10 at this, but in actuality, if I brought a freaking professional in here, you know what? Yeah, I'm probably only an 8 at that. You know, Here you have a 3. You might say, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, if I bring a professional in, yeah, I'm a 3. That might even drop to like a 0 or something. Who knows? You might go like, I thought it was a 3 at this, but really, you know what? You put a professional in here doing that, and yeah, I totally suck. I should be a 1, or a 0. You might look at this one right here. You said, hey, yeah, you know what? I'm really, really good at this, and you know what? You bring a professional in here, I'll go toe to toe with them right there. I am the best at this. All right. I am that professional. And you might look at something like this going, hey, I actually thought I was pretty dang good at this, but you know what? Really, when I compare that to a professional, oh man, you know what? When I compare, somebody could come in here and they could kick my tail. I really actually kind of suck at this now that I look at this. Okay. And here again, now, you can play with some numbers here, but the purpose of this really, this is very, very key element right here, because this, and it also reflects back over to here as well too in a different fashion, but this is personal. This is like on the level of, like I said, you might not realize, you might be looking at this right here, these two, the importance and the earning importance. This is going to give you an idea of where you thought things were important, when in actuality, the only things that are important, as we talk about, are the things that actually do earn you money. So you're going to see, like you said, like we talked about right here, you thought this was pretty important, but then you realize in the actual relationship to you earning a dollar bill, this has very little importance whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to refocus. Like right here, you thought this was of utmost importance as being a 10, and when in reality you look at it, it's not quite all that important. I mean, it's still pretty high as an 8. It's still pretty important, but it's not of the utmost importance. Whereas this one up here, you didn't think was, and then all of a sudden you realize, wow, it actually is. So that's going to give you a real clearer vision on where your focus needs to be, where you need to be, putting your focus a little bit more. This over here, this is a personal, this is you. Okay, this is an eye opener for you to say, wow, you know what? I'm not all that I thought I was. I'm not the greatest person that I thought I was in all these places. I definitely have some things I can be working on. This is your eye opener. This is where you really realize how important you and no other outside sources are to your earning ability. This is where you're going to look in here and you're going to go, you know what? I need to be able to open my mind, change the way I'm thinking about a few things, and look at all of this stuff in a slightly different manner. Because when you take this score now, especially, I mean, look at some of these scores here. If you took this task right here, which originally you had a me score of an 8 and an importance score of a 6, right? And that's a 14. Well, even if you just adjusted for this, you take your me score of an 8 and your importance score is now a 1, like we talked about. That's now down to a 9. That turned into a red flag, ultimately got to get rid of. If you go back now and you add together columns number 3, number 5, and number 9, look at these numbers. 3 was a 0, 2 compared to an 8, and 1 compared to a 6. This task is now scored a 3, where we had it all the way up as a 14 out of 30. That is a huge red flag. Got to get this thing out of your life right away kind of a task. Do you see the power that we're going here in drilling this down to what is and what is not important in your ability to earn money in this coming year? Again, we come over here, we take a 7. It remained a 10. That's good. And it even improved from a 9 to a 10. So this thing went from a 26 to a 27. So that's definitely a high priority. That's definitely a good top quality. I don't really have to worry about this task and what's going on here, but I just want to realize that that's something that obviously where where more of my time should be being spent, because this is with these kinds of numbers tell you this is a task that makes you money. All right. Come down here to this next one. We look at, we had a 3, it stayed a 3. Our 5 stayed a 5, our 2 stayed a 2. That still stays, that 8 stays an 8. It's still a trouble area. It's still something that needs to get taken off your plate. Here's one we look at, we have a 4, but our 10 changed to an 8. So now instead of it being a 14 over here, it's only a 12. And over here, our 3 stayed the same. Actually, let's say this one went to a 0 over here. Our 14, went to a 12, which went to a 17 overall, which in actuality, stayed down here as a 12. That's kind of a huge difference between a 12 and a 17. A 17 is something that, yeah, it needs some attention, but it's something that's going to be okay for a little while here until we can get to it and then figure out what we want to do in that area. A 12 is more like, as soon as we get all this crap off our plate that's in the single digit scores, this thing's high priority in getting to and figuring out what's going on here. You know what I mean? So that's it doesn't make a huge difference really, but it is kind of a huge difference. And then you got one down here, where we have a 9 that was added to a 6, so that increased in score, but then over here it decreased in score. It kind of stayed the same. It only dropped to a 24, but again, it just once again just sort of realigns things in a more clear manner to what is of utmost importance and what is not of utmost importance. So that's where we are now. And you can just see right there, the eye-opening features that this right here is going to show you, and this right here is going to show you. These two things, that is really, really two cool items that are just going to, open your eyes about, where you're spending your time and where you're earning your money and why you should be spending your time there. Because, if you look at something over here that went from, this 8 to a 2, from this 8, I'm sorry, where's one that dropped? Yeah, from this 8 to a 2. You're looking at that right there. That was your ability. You thought you were great at that, but you really actually kind of stink at it. And you don't like doing it. You know what I mean? You're going to look at some times in your chart that when you were on the downswing, and I'll guarantee you, because you thought you were good at this and you were probably spending a lot of time at this when you were not making as much money. That's the kind of things that you're going to see, and you're going to realize right away, wow, yeah, I need to rethink this whole program, and stuff like this I shouldn't be spending any time at all doing. This is something I need to replace and get my time back that I've wasted in this area and apply it to something else of more importance. That's really going to get you to focus your attentions in the area that's going to help you benefit and make more money in 2015. Okay, then the next thing we're going to have you do is we're going to have you come over here to column number 10, and this is going to be a bit of an eye-opener as well. This one, we're calling this the real earning importance of this task, right? And now you're going to go through here, and you're only going to have what am I doing here? I think I screwed up. You're only going to have one of 3 numbers on this list now. So everything that you had right here, your earning power, right? everything you had in this column right here, 0 through 10, that's going to change. And now the only thing you're going to have on this in this real earning power is a 0, a 5, or a 10. Because here's the thing. Each one of these tasks, so your thing's going to change to look something like this: 0, 10, 5, 0, 0, right? This task right here, even though you love it, you're pretty good at it, it's got an extreme importance. You thought maybe it wasn't so important in actuality. When you really, really, really think about it, does it make you any money whatsoever when you're actually doing that task? Is your time making you money? Now, this probably in actuality wouldn't drop to a 0. This would probably drop to a 5 potentially. This would probably be a 10 or a 5. Either like, yes, my spending time here is earning money, or my spending time here is contributing to earning money. So that's where the 5s come in. And then your 0s are, you know what? My spending time here is not earning me a single freaking penny. So that's where your 10s are. Yes, my spending time here is directly, every minute that I spend here earns me $1, or every hour that I spend here earns me $1, or whatever it is. Every second that I'm spending here, I am earning money. Okay. The 5s are, you know what? Every second that I'm spending here is increasing my ability to earn that money. Okay. That's the thing right there. And then the 0s are, you know what? Every second that I spend here is not earning a dime here. It's not making anything that I do help me earn a dime here. This task actually has nothing to do with earning money. It's a task within the organization, within the business, within my job, within the scope of things, within the realm of things. It is a task that has to be done, no question, but it doesn't directly relate to earning $1. That's the 0s. So now you have 0s, you have 5s, and you have 10s. And once again, you can go back and reevaluate your task score. And when you now total up your column 5, you now total up your column 10, and you now total up your column 3. You now total up your column 5, and you now total up your column 10. This is going to give you one more column, column 11, and column 11 is your focus total. And your focus total, that's going to be your final outcome as to exactly where you want to start, applying your focus towards earning more money in 2015. And as we talked about, you're going to start off applying it at the bottom with the very, very lowest scores, because those are the things that you don't like to do or you're not very good at. That's, or they'd have and they don't have much correlation to you actually earning money. So they're the things that are A, not earning you money, B, causing you frustration. Yes. So basically what they are is they are time eaters. If they're not making you any money and you happen to do them, it's eating your time. It's taking away time from your ability to make money. And if it's a frustration creator, it's going to take you longer to perform this task than it should be. So the extra time that it's taking to get this task done is eating away your time. So these, like I said, these lowest scores, these tasks, every one of them that scores below a 10 in a single digit, are immediate concerns that you need to get off your plate. You need to figure out how you can delegate this task to someone else, how you can hire somebody to do this task in your place, how you can outsource this task to, a VA in another country who can do this online for you, that you don't have to spend any time doing it. All of these things you need to get them 100% if possible. Now, some of these items won't be able to get 100% off your plate. Some of these items you will still have to spend, you know, 1 to 10% of the time that that task takes you right now. You still might have to put in anywhere from 1 to 10% of that time towards that task just to manage it, just to make sure it's getting done properly, just to check the numbers that it's out and it's all adding up correctly, just to, make sure that, nothing's getting missed. You might still have to do that piece, but that's fine. If you can get 90% of that time back and apply the 90% of that time somewhere else, and you've only got to go there for 10% of the time that you're putting into it now. If you had 100 hours that you put into that last year, and next year you only got to put 10 hours into it all year long, and you got 90 hours you can apply to something else that needs attention, you're going to be able to increase your income just by doing that. So, done for today. We'll be back here Monday, the 5th day of January. So you've got almost a week here to work on this, get these numbers in place, get these charts in place, get these evaluations in place, look at your tasks. And like I said, if you get a chance to, if you get all of this listed and tasked out and scored, start looking at the areas last year on your graph when you were doing good and when you were not doing good, and start thinking about what was going on, what were you doing during the times of doing good and during the times of not doing good. And of course, during the times of doing nothing as well, too. 3 comparisons there: doing good, doing bad, doing nothing. All right. And start developing lists of those tasks that you were doing during those times, so we can start correlating and seeing the relationship between certain tasks and certain earning power performance. Okay. With that, I'm out of here. Oh, universe, ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom through these graphs and charts to make better use of the riches that I was given at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind and hopefully someday my hair to whatever ends I might desire. Everybody, Happy New Year. We're going to see you next year. Enjoy your time this evening. Don't have too much fun. Be safe out there, and